Next on the news, helping those that need it most. Brooklynites are stepping up to get much needed supplies to desperate quake victims in Turkey. Remembering the victims, mourners pray for those killed during the Michigan State University shooting as police piece together that tragic night. Under review, from outages to near misses, the FAA is under investigation for so many recent problems. Plus, the Diocese of Brooklyn through the decades, the visual history of what it was literally like to chase church news. I'm Christine Persichetti. Current News starts right now. The death toll has surpassed 40,000 and nearly 23 million have been impacted. The world has come to Turkey and Syria's aid, sending money and donations as they continue recovery efforts and make unbelievable rescues of survivors. Current News' Jessica Easthope joins us now to tell us how the global community in Brooklyn is stepping up. Hi, Jess.
Hi, Christine. We've seen in those pictures and videos coming out of Turkey and Syria just how much these people are suffering. Those who have been displaced are sleeping in barracks and shelters. Some are even living out of their cars, all while battling below freezing temperatures. But the Turkish Cultural Center in Brooklyn is keeping the community close and showing those in need being more than 5,000 miles away isn't stopping them. This is the last of it. Since the 7.8 magnitude earthquake rocked Turkey and Syria in the early morning hours of February 6th, the Turkish Cultural Center has been collecting thousands of items, from diapers and baby food to blankets and clothes. A full flight's worth of cargo airlifting the supplies from Newark Airport to Turkey every day through the Embrace Relief campaign. This is the 9th and final shipment.
Those are our people. Those are our friends, our family members. When we start to see the pictures and videos and from drones, from from the earthquake area, we realize that it's maybe the largest one.
Pampers maybe could be there.
Jackson Guvin is the coordinator of the Brooklyn Turkish community's donation and fundraising efforts. They asked people to bring supplies to the Brooklyn Amity School in Sheepshead Bay until Turkey said they had enough. Jackson said people of all ethnicities and faiths have supported their mission.
Give me a hope that being in unite is the strongest thing. I saw a lot on the disaster that they opened their hearts, I believe.
The lobby of the school has been a central location, but Principal Adam Olimi says they've had the ability to help people through a disaster a world away at their fingertips, thanks to the power of social media.
So I think it's one of the greatest things we can do, at least like fast, easy access, less resources used. So of course that was the first thing we've done, to share the link on our social media account.
Now Jackson says the Turkish community is looking toward achieving a long-term goal, getting the country's authorities to ensure the surviving buildings and new construction can withstand another quake.
We are looking to the future now, and I'm praying that the authorities gonna get a lesson from this disaster and will get the proofs and agreements quick.
The Embrace Relief campaign has raised close to $1 million in just 9 days. And Christine, that last shipment of supplies that we saw today will be heading out on a cargo ship out of the port of Newark on Sunday.
Oh, that's wonderful, Jess. I understand the collection of supplies is over, but monetary donations are still needed. What exactly are they saying the money will go to?
Yeah, Christine, this is far from over. As you know, Syria has been in political conflict for more than a decade, and Turkey declared a 3-month state of emergency after this earthquake. So people are being encouraged to rebuild their lives as much as they can, as soon as they can. And so they're being asked to move elsewhere in the country, and they need money for rent. And so before things are reevaluated in terms of physical supplies, right now what's needed is money for resources, the manpower to assist in this recovery effort, medical supplies. That's really what's needed most right now.
All right, Jess, we'll continue to follow this story. Thanks so much. You too can support the Turkish Cultural Center of Brooklyn's efforts. Visit embracerelief.org and click on Donate Now. You can also donate to the Diocese of Brooklyn's efforts to help quake victims. Just make checks payable to the Compostela Fund of the RC Diocese of Brooklyn with the notation Syria and Turkey, and mail it to the Diocesan Finance Office. That's at 310 Prospect Park West in Brooklyn, New York, and the zip code 11215. Pope Francis is also contributing to relief efforts. The Holy Father is providing 10,000 thermal shirts for the earthquake victims, as well as financial aid to Syria through the country's apostolic nunciature. The boxes of shirts set sail from Naples on Wednesday morning, along with other aid from NGOs and the Italian government. They're expected to reach Turkey in about 2 days. While the Pope's aid is still on its way, some of the pontiff's prayers for the victims are being answered as more people are being found more than a week after the earthquake. Two brothers in Turkey were pulled out of the rubble after almost 200 hours. The 21-year-old and 17-year-old were trapped underneath the twisted metal and concrete of their apartment building, and they alerted rescue crews to another person still alive beneath them. Even more amazingly, the 77-year-old woman survived 212 hours in the rubble. She was found alive in southern Turkey on Wednesday. According to the country's state-run news agency, the woman was hugged by waiting family members after she was rescued. And we're also hearing stories of life continuing on after this earthquake. One survivor giving birth to a baby girl after she boarded a naval hospital ship for a regular checkup. The Turkish Defense Ministry tweeted out the baby announcement, wishing the little girl a healthy, happy, and beautiful life. Also tonight, looking for hope after turmoil. People at Michigan State University and across America praying for those lost in the mass shooting. Right now on Currents News, a community struggling to heal. They're leaning on each other to cope with their loss. Tonight, we're learning more about the 3 students gunned down in Monday's campus shooting. One of them remembered at a church vigil. St. Paul on the Lake Catholic Church in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, filled with family and friends of Brian Frazier. The sophomore was the president of the Michigan Beta chapter of Phi Delta Theta, who described him as a great friend.
This isn't thoughts and prayers. We need change, and we need change now.
Ariel Anderson and Alexandria Werner, both juniors at MSU, were also fatally shot. 5 more students were critically injured.
We now have a complete generation that's grown up with this many times over as just a part of from elementary school all the way up to now. And now we're looking at this at the college level as well.
MSU police say the 43-year-old gunman, Anthony McCrae, shot himself during a confrontation and died.
Does it look like he's self-inflicted?
Medics are en route. Is he conscious, breathing? What's the status?
He's not moving.
But he may have been planning more attacks, according to authorities in Ewing, New Jersey. A note found in McCrae's pocket made reference to 2 schools in that area, and a source familiar with the investigation says the 2-page note mentioned past shootings as well. According to a source, the note also said there were others like him to incite violence at other schools.
How can we help everyone stay safe so that there isn't another superintendent giving this press conference, or more importantly, another set of parents that are getting this terrible, grieving information?
Classes, athletics, and campus-related activities at Michigan State are on hold until Monday. Counselors will be on hand to help those dealing with the trauma of the shooting. That includes campus priests. They understand the heavy weight people are dealing with and are reassuring those that they're not alone.
Some of them, they don't know where they're going to eat. Are the dorms feeding them, right? And so we're here and we're trying to offer. We have Sherry Drayton, I also notice here, who can provide some counseling. So psychological, spiritual, even physical support, anything we can do to help. Tragedies are real and you can't pretend them away, right? But you also have to see them wrapped around and somehow absorbed into this love of Christ. And you can't always see that element, but it's there.
He added that anyone dealing with the mass shooting is allowed to visit. The man accused of mowing down at least 9 people in Brooklyn made his first court appearance Wednesday. Wang Soor is being held without bail and is on suicide watch. He's facing murder, attempted murder, and assault charges after he allegedly drove his U-Haul truck through the streets and sidewalks of several Brooklyn neighborhoods on Monday. One of the victims has died, another placed in a medically induced coma. The NYPD has also released body camera footage of officers responding to the reckless driving rampage. The cops getting out of their cruiser and frantically telling kids playing outside Bay Ridge Prep to get inside. The U-Haul driver was just blocks away. China is threatening retaliation over the spy balloon shot down earlier this month. During a daily press briefing, the country's foreign ministry spokesman reiterated Beijing's position that the balloon was an unmanned weather airship blown off course and accused the Biden administration of overreacting. The official offered no details on the planned countermeasures. There's a lot more news headed your way. We keep hearing about them, incidents of unsafe travels as planes are nearly colliding with each other. Those in charge are now in the hot seat. She is the most famous conductor of the Underground Railroad, but new artifacts are telling us more about the life of Harriet Tubman. And a staple of Catholic journalism in the Diocese of Brooklyn has a new book out. The Tablet's editor emeritus, Ed Wilkinson, joins us.
American 106 Heavy, American 106 Heavy, hold position. American 106 Heavy, hold position.
Delta 1943, cancel takeoff clearance.
Remember this incident from a month ago when a Delta plane ready for takeoff at JFK was frantically ordered to stop after it almost collided with an American Airlines flight? Well, it's one of a few recent close calls that have been happening at airports around the country, and now those in charge are being asked to answer for it. The FAA is facing heat from lawmakers and travelers across the world. The agency's leader is promising an investigation and a review on daily operating procedures after a number of mishaps. And as Mike Valerio tells us, changes may be coming.
The acting head of the Federal Aviation Administration ordering a sweeping review of the agency following near collisions,
Delta 1943, cancel takeoff clearance.
close calls,
It was very close, and we believe less than 100 feet.
and a crippling computer outage that temporarily grounded flights nationwide last month.
We're missing the first week for a funeral.
Appearing before the Senate Commerce Committee Wednesday, acting FAA Administrator Billy Nolan says air travel has never been safer, but acknowledged the problems plaguing the aviation industry.
And I say to the American public that we are safe. The answer is that we are. If the question is, can we be better? The answer is absolutely.
Nolan said accelerated efforts to upgrade the NOTAM safety messaging system that failed in January will mostly be completed by mid-2025, but said that vulnerabilities remain in that system, which is responsible for providing pilots with critical pre-flight safety information.
Could I sit here today and tell you there will never be another issue on the NOTAM system? No, sir, I cannot.
Recent near collisions that have also raised concerns, including one between a FedEx cargo plane and a Southwest jet in Austin last week, are currently under investigation, but Nolan says FAA safety measures prevented potential disasters.
When we think about the controls, how we train both our controllers and our pilots, the system works as it's designed.
Yet Nolan says sustaining and implementing these systems means a lot of work ahead.
Recent events remind us that we cannot and must not become complacent and must continually invest in our aviation system.
Mike Valerio, Currents News.
Here's one aspect the FAA and airlines got right. A 24/7 Eucharistic chapel is now open at Atlanta's airport. Travelers and airline workers could use the chapel at the busiest airport in the world. The chapel will be there permanently after the Archbishop of Atlanta blessed it on Monday before catching a flight. On average, 300,000 passengers fly through the airport daily, and 64,000 workers are on staff at any given time. A different church, this one in Chicago, is getting some major recognition. The Greater Union Baptist Church was just approved to be a landmark in the city. It was originally built in 1886 as the Church of the Redeemer, but was sold in 1928 to a Black Baptist congregation and has been their place of worship for the last 94 years. Uncovering American history, archaeologists in Maryland unearthed unique artifacts that may help tell the story of the life and legacy of abolitionist Harriet Tubman. As Kate Amara shows us, parts of Africa were found on the eastern shores of Maryland, where Tubman was born 200 years ago.
Today really is a wonderful discovery and a celebration of what makes our state so special, what makes our state so unique.
A home where enslaved people lived, found during an archaeological dig on the 1,000-acre Thompson farm. Dr. Julie Shablitsky is MDOT's chief archaeologist and leader of the team dedicated to finding the homes of Anthony Thompson's enslaved people.
And something spectacular popped out at us. It was a 20-foot by 40-foot building in the ground in the middle of a farm field in the middle of nowhere.
Nearly 2 years of digging unearthed a brick foundation, a fireplace, broken ceramic shards, pieces of pipe and teacups. And then at the home site of Tubman's father, Ben Ross, on the Blackwater National Wildlife Refuge.
This cache of artifacts, and I almost gasped because I thought to myself, could this be a West African spirit cache? Something that tied the people who lived here back to Africa. I saw this really beautiful glass heart-shaped perfume stopper. So usually you need the glass, which would capture or reflect the spirit. Sometimes a round button, which maybe we could communicate the cosmograms, the sky. Sometimes even these metal nails that were forged in heat that had the power of Ogun, a West African deity.
The dig unearthing artifacts and layers of meaning for the archaeological team that includes Tubman's descendants.
This physical evidence gives me an idea of how my family of ancestors experienced life in bondage.
Their past directly informs my present.
That was Kate Amara reporting. The items will be on display soon. Meanwhile, the Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad Visitor Center is honoring its famed abolitionist with a number of Saturday events for Black History Month. From artifacts found in the ground to statues high in the sky, there was a different kind of light show at the Christ the Redeemer statue in Brazil. A photographer captured this stunning moment of lightning striking the iconic monument. He tried to take a picture of the statue being hit before, but it didn't happen. On Instagram, the photographer said, quote, "It's the place that I love to photograph." Still to come on Currents News, 50 years of faith and news, all told through the lens of the Tablet's editor emeritus. Ed Wilkinson joins us to talk about his new book, Chasing Church News. And do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number, 718-517-3122. We'll be right back. With a camera in one hand and a reporter's notebook in the other, he covered every major church story in Brooklyn and Queens over the course of 50 years. And now his passion for Catholic journalism is summed up in one book called Chasing Church News. The author and editor emeritus of the Tablet newspaper, Ed Wilkinson, is back with us. Hi, Ed.
Hi, Christine. Good to be with you again.
Oh, it's so nice to see you again. I know you've been very busy, so thanks for taking some time out of all your book signings. Tell me, if somebody hasn't seen this book yet, and they haven't been to one of your book signings, what's it about?
Well, it's a snapshot of what it's been like to be Catholic over the last 50 years. You know, I have photos there from all 50 years that I worked with the Tablet. I went through all my old negatives and old shots, and I pulled out one or two from each year, and I put them together in this book. And so it's really a nice, it's a nice collection of photos that says who we were as a diocese over these last 50 years.
And you said that you've probably taken hundreds of thousands of photos. So how did you choose the ones that are in here? How'd you whittle it down?
Well, that's a tough question. But over the years, I'd been putting certain photos aside. You know, when I got a shot and I particularly liked it, so I'd make an 8x10, I'd frame it, I'd put it on my wall. So I had certain favorites that I kept.
Right, okay.
And I said, well, that became the foundation of it. You know, there was, so then I had to go through all the old negatives so to fill in some of the years where I didn't have anything. And it took me, first of all, it took me a while to find those negatives.
Sure.
They were in storage in some factory in New Jersey. And we finally tracked them down. We got them and went through all of those. It took a while to do it, but we went through all the negatives and all of the digital photos over the last 20 years, and that's the results.
Okay, so what would you say are, I don't know, your top 3 pictures in this book?
Well, you know, each one is a favorite, but back in the 70s, I took a picture of a little kid drinking water out of a hydrant, and I just thought it said something to me about the poverty of the neighborhood at the time and the refreshment of that water, you know, and the kid. I love that shot. And then I got a picture of Mother Teresa in the 90s, 1992. She came to speak at a convention in the city for the Knights of Columbus. Only time I've ever seen Mother Teresa.
Wow.
But I got a shot of her then there. And then there's another photo that I particularly like because it won an award as the best news photo in the Catholic press. And it's a picture of a Korean woman at a prayer service in St. Sebastian's Woodside. It was a Korean jet that had been shot down, and her brother was killed in that, and they were having a vigil. So it happened to be just a very poignant shot of the event.
Yeah, so many stories.
Yeah.
So I know the proceeds from this book go to the Tablet, one of the few remaining Catholic newspapers in the country.
Well, first we have to pay for the production of the book.
Of course, but then the other money that comes in from all those books being bought. Why is Catholic journalism so important?
I think Catholic journalism is very important because we've got to get our story out there, and nobody else is going to tell our story. I mean, that's really the main reason that we should have Catholic journalism, Catholic newspapers, Catholic TV, because the story is not told from the point of view of the church. When I read something in other newspapers, secular newspapers, and I'm saying, they've missed the point completely. They don't know what they're talking about, and we're talking from a Catholic frame of view, a Catholic frame of reference, and there's a particular story that we want to get out there, and so I think these things are essential if we want to continue to tell the story of who we are as Catholics.
And now people who buy this book can become part of our mission to keep Catholic journalism alive. Why do you think people should become members of the Tablet?
It's vital these days that there be another way of financing newspapers, because there used to be circulation and advertising. Well, that just doesn't cut it anymore. So, we have to be smart, we have to be creative, we have to find ways to get the funds to keep these newspapers afloat. So this is just another way of financing it, offering these packages to people. In return, they get a lot of stuff, including my book, but they also get tickets to concerts and tickets to baseball games and tickets to lectures. So I looked at one day and I said, for this donation, we're giving them more than the face value of that donation. I said, we're giving the store away here.
But a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff. Tablet caps, drawstring bags. You become part of the Tablet family.
So what's the response been like, really quickly?
Oh, the response has been great. As I go around to the different parishes, people have been coming from, neighboring parishes. People who I haven't seen. I had a classmate come from upstate New York last week, and it's been really great to see people. They're fans of the Tablet. These are really Tablet people. I talked to a judge the other day, and I said, this guy gets it. He knew what we were trying to do.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Ed Wilkinson, the author of Chasing Church News, editor emeritus of the Tablet, thanks so much for being here.
Always good to be with you, Christine.
All right, and more dates on Ed's book signing tour are coming up. To find one near you and keep up to date on all future signings, just go to thetablet.org. And if you can't get to one of those book signings, you can still become a part of the Tablet's membership program, which we just talked about, and get your hands on Chasing Church News. For just $50, you'll not only get the paper sent straight to your mailbox, you can gift a subscription to a friend, plus get access to the Tablet's online content and a quarterly newsletter, and get a commemorative drawstring bag and pin. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Gift $100 and you'll become a sponsor, getting everything we just mentioned, plus a Tablet baseball cap, and be a part of the recognition listing on the paper's website. Contribute $250 and you become a patron, and among the things added to your list of perks are 4 tickets to Tablet Appreciation Night at the Cyclone Stadium and free VIP access to certain diocesan events. For $500, you become a benefactor of the Tablet. You'll get a signed copy of Ed's book and an invitation to the annual Catholic Communications Mass and Reception. And if you give $1,000, you will become a founder. That'll secure you an invitation to the annual Editors Roundtable Reception. And that is Currents News. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us, because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.